She's not the town clerk.
She's not the town clerk.
She's not, but
She's not acting either.
Yeah, I'll put her in.
Put her on there. Well, no, she deserves it.
she's dealing with like,
Yeah.
She's dealing with the entirety of it.
That's why she didn't think she wanted to do that full time.
I'd like to call the February 11th, the 2026 meeting of the Town of Branford Representative Town Meeting to order. We will say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, Representative Ingraham, would you call the roll, please?
Sure will. Representative Adams.
Present.
Representative Edelman.
Here.
Representative Alphone.
Here.
Representative Anderson.
Here.
Representative Bonneberger.
Here.
Representative Brooks.
Here.
Representative Dayhill.
Here.
Representative Everson.
Here.
Representative Greenberg. Representative Gorman.
Here.
Representative Hartwell.
Here.
Representative Healy.
Here.
Representative Henschel.
Here.
Representative Hines.
Here.
Representative Ingraham here. Representative Jennings.
Here.
Representative Kelly.
Present.
Representative Larson.
Present.
Representative
Here.
Maresca. 3 syllables. Representative McCall.
Here.
Representative McCormick.
Here.
Representative Murray.
Here.
Representative Papalizio. He's in the sun. Representative Sharkey.
Here.
Representative Shrestha.
Here.
Representative Shumrow.
Yes. Yes.
Representative Sullivan.
Here.
Representative Toohill.
Here.
Representative Verderon.
Here.
Representative Waterman.
Here.
We have a quorum. Moderator?
Thank you. Item number 3, approval of the minutes of January 14th, 2026. Any changes or corrections?
Madam Moderator,
Yes, Representative Henschel.
thank you. I would like to request that the RTM meeting consider amending the item 10 under other business, the letter number A, the statement of Representative Sullivan in last month's meeting, to read as he stated, Representative Sullivan asked that this body hold a moment of silence for Renee Good, who was a mother and a U.S. citizen who was killed in the streets of Minneapolis. I offer my condolences to her family, and may she rest in peace. So I believe that the minutes should read, in this case, exactly as Representative Sullivan stated them, and I put that in the form of a motion.
And we have a second from Representative McCormick. Any discussion? All those in favor?
He's just talking about A.
Any opposed?
No.
Any abstentions? Okay, so the meeting minutes will reflect that change.
Did you send that to me? Thank you. Perfect. I should have known.
Number 4, receipt of communications.
Approving the amended minutes.
Don't think we have to vote on the amended minutes, do we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Now that's
Okay.
amended.
Okay, now that the motion has passed, we need to vote on the amended meeting minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The amended meeting minutes are adopted. Number 4, receipt of communications, reports of committees and citizens' petitions. I have some correspondence that came in from the first selectman requesting that the RTM hold a special meeting on Tuesday, February 17th at 7 p.m. via Zoom to approve and adopt the following resolution. Resolution amending resolution authorizing an appropriation of $10,800,000 for the East Industrial Road real property acquisition and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $10,800,000 therefore. The full text of the resolution is on file and open to public inspection in the office of the town clerk. The purpose of this amendment is to allow the issuance of said bonds by the first selectman, the town treasurer, and the finance director, or any two of them. We also have another letter from the first selectman.
Is that being sent to a committee?
It is being sent to Ways and Means. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also from the first selectman, requesting that the RTM consider establishing a traffic authority pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 7-149D. The purpose of the new traffic authority is to establish a new traffic authority in the town of Branford to assume powers and duties related to traffic currently held by the Board of Police Commissioners. I will refer that item to the Rules and Ordinances Committee. I also received correspondence from Representative Healy requesting that R&O also consider creating a traffic authority committee that would be separate from the Branford Police Department. It's to take the added burden of traffic issues off the Branford PD, and Representative Healy's also looking into the addition of automated traffic enforcement safety devices in our town as allowed by the Connecticut General Statutes 14-307B. That will also be referred to Rules and Ordinances Committee. And one kind of housekeeping note, Representative Brooks has resigned from the Public Services Committee, and Representative Dayhill will be named to that committee in her place. So before we move on to item 5, I just want to explain the process here. It's a little different. We are first going to hear the report from the Rules and Ordinances Committee regarding item 5 as they reviewed and discussed it. Then item 6 will be to read and open the public hearing as is required for this resolution, and we will have a presentation. And then the public or anyone is allowed to speak. Then we'll close the public hearing, and then the RTM will discuss the matter and vote on the resolution. So item 5, to consider and if appropriate that the RTM recommend approval of a request from the Director of Planning, Conservation, and Development asking that this legislative body approve a resolution authorizing the town of Branford to opt in as a member municipality of the Connecticut Municipal Redevelopment Authority, CMRA, pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 8-16911. A full copy of the resolution is on file and available in the town clerk's office. This matter was heard again by the Rules and Ordinances Committee. Chairman Henschel.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. The Rules and Ordinances Committee met on January 20th to consider this request. In that meeting, Mikhail Walkers, the Director of Planning, spoke to clarify this request. The proposed resolution was discussed, and the director assured the committee that the opt-in for membership in the CMRA would not commit Branford to any future actions, but will open many beneficial opportunities for the town. Since a public hearing is required by the state before approval of this resolution, the committee voted unanimously to forward this request to the RTM with a recommendation that it be heard and considered by the full RTM in February after a public hearing at that same meeting. The R&O recommended that also that Mikhail Walkers and a representative of the CMRA be present at this public hearing tonight to present. So no motion is needed on that because it's a recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6, the RTM will hold a public hearing regarding the proposed resolution to authorize the town of Branford to opt in as a member municipality of the Connecticut Municipal Redevelopment Authority, CMRA, pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 8-16911. I'd like to open the public hearing now and ask that our Director of Planning, Conservation, and Development, Mikhail Wackers, join us up front. And I understand we also have someone from CMRA, and I'm sorry, sir, I did not get your name.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone. Just to restate, I'm Mikhail Wackers. I'm the Director of Planning, Conservation, and Development. And with me today, I have the Executive Director, David Corus, of the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority. I'll ask him to speak more specifically to what you are considering tonight. But I want to just reiterate, this is a real opportunity for Branford. It is, a quasi-public organization that's intended to support municipalities like Branford and really extend local control and flexibility to a variety of resources that we might not otherwise have. And specifically, technical assistance so that we can properly plan, undertake necessary improvements for development, and a variety of types of development, economic development, but also just infrastructure that can be done to support future growth or resiliency for what is, the needs of Branford in the future. And with that, I'll turn it over to David.
Good evening. Sorry to have my back to some of you, but happy to answer any questions after I give some brief kind of overall remarks. So for the record, David Corus, I'm the Executive Director of the Municipal Development Authority. So we are a quasi-public authority, which means we're essentially a creature of the state, but we're not exactly the state. I'm technically an employee of the Municipal Development Authority, not of the state of Connecticut. And our authority is established in statute, 8-169 HH through, I think it's 00. And the statutory purpose is to be a broad and diverse toolkit to support municipalities in achieving their economic development objectives. And so our primary statutory purpose is economic and transit-oriented development to help municipalities, big and small, realize their opportunities within their downtowns and around their train stations. And fundamentally, the way that we do that is by providing one or more of 3 tools: technical assistance, infrastructure funding directly to the municipality, and gap financing to development or developers active in your community. It's important to note that we do not usurp any local control. We don't bypass any local regulations. Any development that we would ultimately support within your station area would have to go through the local process of entitlement and zoning approval. We can only work within a half a mile of the train station or within the downtown. So we can never engage in projects in far-flung residential neighborhoods, down along the waterfront, et cetera. We are very specifically oriented to those limited areas of the community. The way that we do that is a multi-step process, the first of which is to opt in to join us. And that sends the signal to us from the legislative body that there's interest and that we're kind of heading down a path together so that we can start to spend the time and energy to work with you. We then go through a review of your regulations within those local geographies and certify your zoning as a housing growth zone, which basically just means you allow some level of multifamily near the train station. We may have recommendations on your zoning, but it always remains within the purview of your zoning commission whether or not to take those recommendations. Ultimately, if we identify zoning that we have certified, we move on to a memorandum of agreement with the first selectman that establishes the boundaries of the development district. Again, that district cannot be beyond a half a mile of the train station or outside of the downtown. and it cannot be in single-family neighborhoods, even within those geographies. Once that boundary is set, then the municipality can apply directly to us for infrastructure funding, or any developer building in accordance with your zoning within that development district can apply to us for gap financing. The final points that I'll mention, and then open it up to questions. So we have a $90 million capital authorization to support infrastructure and development projects. That's a significant amount of money, but it's not enough to do what we are tasked to do. So a big part of what we do is help coordinate and identify opportunities with other state agencies and identify kind of permitting pathways through the various state processes. So I work for a board of directors that includes 7 members of the governor's cabinet, gubernatorial appointees, legislative appointees from both the Democratic majority and the Republican minority, and that includes the commissioners of transportation, energy and environmental protection, economic and community development. And a big part of our mission is within these localized geographies where communities are trying to chart a path to their future to help navigate that vision that you have for the future of your community in that area through the state regulatory process. And then the final point that I'll make, we have been in operations almost exactly 18 months. Just last week, actually, it was 18 months. The first 6 months, we're getting ourselves set up, policies and procedures, bank accounts. So the first time a municipality could have opted in was February of last year. As of last week, 40 municipalities have taken that step. They are big, they are small, they are rail-oriented, they are not. In your neck of the woods here on the shoreline, our members are New Haven, Guilford, Clinton, Westbrook, Old Saybrook. So you'd be in very good company. And a big reason why we get these clusters of municipal membership is because of the relationship between not just local objectives, but regional objectives, and looking at it at the corridor. And so the opportunity to link Shoreline East enhancements with economic development opportunities when we're working across councils of government, across the former counties, is a real big opportunity that we hope to be able to help you all with. And with that, happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you. I guess we'll hear now from members of the public, if there are people who would like to. Does anyone want to speak or ask a question or make a statement on this? Yes, Marianne? You want to come up to the microphone?
They don't necessarily have to come up if they're going to be questions.
They're on TV.
Yeah, you have to, yeah, we don't have a hand mic to give you, so, yes. You just need to say your name for the record.
Thank you.
No, but it's in the downtown. They also come
Yes.
My name is Mariana Morey. I live in Pompano Avenue in the 4th District, and I'm a former member of the RTM. I'm here very briefly to encourage membership in CMDA. I started hearing about it. It never came up, wasn't on our screen last year in any way. But it was called something else. It was MDRA. And I thought it was interesting that there was money in the pipeline at the state level for things that we often tangle over in terms of bonding and where are we going to get the money for this infrastructure project or something else. So I think the presentation that we just heard speaks for itself. And then the one thing that stood out in the statement from the planning director was, to me, was that future applications for discretionary funding at the state level may be influenced by our membership. We're going to get points if we're members. So it's simple. It seems like this is a $90 million pot of potential assistance, and we should take advantage of it. And that's all I really have to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Perry, just come up. to the microphone. And identify yourself, please.
Perry Maresca, Economic and Business Development Manager for the town of Branford. I live on 7th Avenue here in town. So Branford has an excellent opportunity here that most towns throughout the state don't have. We've got a beautiful town green with historic town hall churches, flanked by scores of local independent small businesses. On behalf of the town, as Economic Community Development Manager, I've been in numerous conversations with legislators and other officials regarding areas around the train station. We have the ability to repurpose many properties that can better serve the townspeople of Branford, and working strategically with CMRA to achieve our desire for a constructive transit-oriented district will certainly benefit all of us and the businesses in town especially. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Does anyone else wish to be heard on this? I think we're going to do the public first during the public hearing, and then we will have our debate. Am I correct in that? Yes, go ahead.
Just a note that if you want to have or ask questions of the presenters, we have to keep the public hearing open for that because they're members of the public. We can close the hearing. So if you have questions you want to ask of Mikhail or the executive director, do that now, and then we can close the hearing and have a discussion, further discussion about this resolution.
Okay, so,
Me?
yes, go ahead.
My question is, I have several actually. Where does the 90 million come from?
General obligation bonds of the state of Connecticut.
In layman's terms, tax
We
dollars?
don't know anything about this. We should have discussed this.
That's what I'm getting at, tax dollars. You want the people listening. So my questions are, why do we need you to do what we want to do in our town around our rail? What being benefit put on our, I think we've done. What am I missing? Why should we join you? What's in it for us, and what do you want from us for it?
Sure. So, as I said, you would gain access to potentially technical assistance, infrastructure funding, and the developers active in your community could have access to gap financing. And so you could pay for consultants yourself. You could bond for infrastructure yourself. I don't think you would provide gap financing to developers. And so those are not necessarily things that you can't do, but it extends your ability to do some of the things that you can do without direct municipal financial support. And then it does add some things that you can't do related to gap financing. What we ask for in exchange, I mean, there's nothing really. I mean, first and foremost, it's limited to communities that have a train station or a downtown, right? So you're a smaller group of the 169 that's eligible. And there is a process of back and forth. As I said, we review your downtown and station area plan. We review your zoning in that area. It's going to be some subset of the area that we ultimately certify. We haven't looked at your zoning yet, so I can't say whether or not we certify it as is or we have recommendations. That's not a process that we get into with non-members, but that's how you gain access to that support.
So you folks have an idea that we want to put here?
No.
Would we come to you
Yes.
and say, we have an idea that we need help with?
Yes.
Any other questions, Representative Anderson?
No,
Okay,
I may come back.
I think Representative Hartwell went up first.
Hey.
In the R&O meeting, one of the things I think we talked about, additional benefit, was increased support for school financing. Is that correct?
Yes. So There are some extraneous benefits that were included in recent legislation for those municipalities who get to the stage of adopting a development district with us, the biggest of which is a 5% increase in the school construction reimbursement rate.
So just as a point of information, our school board is looking at quite a large sum of money coming down the pipe in the next, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years maybe. I'm not sure exactly what the timing is, but we're talking, I'm told, of more than $200 million in school funding. If we were to get an extra 5% from the state, all
Substantial.
If that's a substantial amount of money, that would only come through being a member and being certified through your process.
Yes, I do believe there are other potential avenues to that benefit in the legislation. I'm not kind of well-versed in all of them, but I can say definitively that we are the quickest and most straightforward.
Thank you.
Representative Henschel?
Yes, just to clarify, you mentioned certification, and my understanding is that the certification is the definition of the boundaries within which we would be eligible for various resources that the authority would provide. That's what you mean by certification?
Yeah, it's a process of analysis of the municipality's zoning. And so, for example, you draw a half a mile radius around the train station that captures about 500 acres. Those 500 acres are going to include some areas that the town has zoned for mixed-use development, transit-oriented development. It will include some single-family zoned neighborhoods. It will include some industrial neighborhoods. It'll include some commercially zoned land that doesn't have a residential component. The certification is the process of looking at those zones, identifying those that allow multifamily housing, and narrowing in the geographic scope. We are statutorily limited to working in the portion of the station area that allows for transit-oriented development.
Thank you.
Yep.
Representative Toohill.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Now, does this have to be approved tonight, or do we have some more time to think about it?
That is up to you all.
Okay. Now, I'm curious, how come this is called a redevelopment authority instead of a development authority? What do you plan to redevelop if this is passed?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question and an appropriate one. We actually changed our name. It was effective in October of last year. We are the Municipal Development Authority, CMDA.
The other thing you mentioned before in your presentation was that if passed by the town, within the half mile of the transit facility plus the downtown, that you would establish a development district. Is that right?
In a portion thereof.
And, what ramifications would that have for the town? More multifamily development?
No, the development district exclusively governs the geography of the town that is eligible for our funding support.
Right. So in that district, what would be eligible to be put in that district? Multifamily? Affordable housing?
Okay, so I see where you're going.
No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just trying to get the basic facts.
Yeah, so the process is our review of your zoning to determine what areas within the community allow for some level of housing production, and that leads to the eligibility of the district.
Yeah, but you're not answering my question. What would go into the development district? Multifamily, affordable housing? What else? what types of use, what types of housing would go in there?
Yeah, so our statute says nothing about affordability or affordable housing.
Right.
We are a tool for housing and mixed-use development and economic development
Right.
within station areas and downtowns.
Right, so those things you just mentioned then
Yes.
could and probably would go into a development district that you would create, right?
No, because you're kind of implying that we are telling you
Well, no,
what
I'm
to
just
put in
trying
those
to get to
places.
the answer. What would you put in a development district 1/2 a mile from the train station and in the center of town?
Yeah.
What uses are eligible? I'm not going anywhere, I just want the facts, sir.
Yeah. So the facts are,
Right?
the land and the utilization of the land in your municipality is governed by your zoning. Within a half
Okay.
a mile of the train station, you're going to have different zones
All right.
that govern different areas.
All right, so what you're
If it's-
saying is that this particular development authority, they don't specify the types of use. That's done by the local zoning.
Correct.
So, for example, in the town of Branford, which has been called the condo capital of the state for decades now, lots of multifamily development we've already had, Our traffic has increased, our schools have, taken a hit. We've had to hire a lot more fire, a lot more ambulance, a lot more police. And I mean, to be quite honest, studies have been done, and true, they grow the grand list, but the tax revenue from them usually doesn't cover the cost, to the town. I just wanted to know, currently, right, in our transit district, we have a huge project, not built yet. It's where the Atlantic Wire Company used to be. That land was cleared. It's right by the river. It's a beautiful site. It's within the half mile of the train station. I believe there's 230. I'm just guessing now, thinking off the top of my head. Around 250 units are going in there on about 10 three-story buildings. The whole first floor is going to be commercial. To me, it sounds like just the thing that you're trying to do. First floor is all commercial. Upper 2 floors are all, I believe it's for apartments. And that's going to be, how many traffic trips a day is going to come out of there? 450, 600 trips a day from all those cars. I don't think the town wants more development around the train station or in the center of town. I think we have enough. Our traffic in town has reached the breaking point, I believe, and this is what I'm hearing from my constituents as well. They don't want more development, and I think by passing this, there are some good things, right? It's true. We'd get the 5% extra reimbursement, which I think is only 32% now, or 33%, so it would be 38%. So that would, right, and that's true what you said, Representative Hartwell. There is a huge school project being proposed, about $250 million. So that would, but I believe we would give up some of the quality of our suburban life in Branford.
Yeah, so I'll just reiterate that we don't usurp any local control. We can't force you or tell you to do anything with your zoning. That all remains within the purview of your Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you.
Representative Edelman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tracy. Is it true to say that the concerns raised by Representative Tuho there would be concerns that would be in the province of the town of Branford to make those decisions about the development?
Absolutely.
You would not create any housing, you would not create any businesses, you would provide technical assistance, and it would be the town's purview, as it is now, to have that development occur or not to occur, or what to do, or how many houses to put up, or how many multi-level houses, or low-income housing, or affordable housing. That would be strictly the town purview, just like it is now.
Correct.
And you would have no effect on the quantity or quality of those different types of buildings. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. And would you also tell me what the level of expertise or the experience of those individuals that will be providing that technical experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So it comes from both staff as well as consultants. We have 17 on-call consultant firms that are active throughout the state and throughout the Northeast that have a breadth of capacity from fiscal impact analysis to site planning to renderings to zoning, et cetera, et cetera. Staff, there's 3 of us on staff that manage those consultants and other vendors. I have been doing city and regional and town planning for over 20 years, mostly within the state. I was formerly deputy commissioner at DECD. Talked about coastal and flooding. I was director of resilience for the state of Connecticut for several years, working on post-Sandy recovery, as well as municipal positions in multiple communities. One of our staff members worked for multiple councils of government for her 20-year career, and then the final staff person is in municipal real estate acquisition and disposition, recently relocated from Massachusetts.
And those individuals, yourself, and those entities would be providing support and technical assistance to this town, offering ideas about innovation and development or the lack thereof in the areas that are within that circumference of the train station.
Correct.
And then it would be completely 100% up to the town what to do or not to do, or to listen to your suggestions or not to listen to them. No obligations.
Correct.
No conditions attached thereto to your opinions.
No. Ultimately, in order to get to the step of funding eligibility for infrastructure, right, there would be some give and take on those recommendations, but it is always, there's off-ramps at every single step in the process, and it is always the town's prerogative whether or not to continue to the next step.
And to get to that funding would be a town decision.
Correct.
Correct. And they could either do it or not do it. Thank you, sir.
Representative Healy, I think, was first. Representative Healy, we need you to use the microphone. Just move it around if you would.
Sure, they can hear me. So thanks for the presentation. So as I understand some of the funding that you're going to be helping out with, some of it, again, it's bonded by the state, inevitably tax dollars, whichever. But some of that goes to gap funding for developers. I really don't think any of my tax dollars need to go to any other developer. I think they're doing fine on their own. I don't understand why they would need extra tax dollars for whatever they're going to be making on the project themselves.
Yeah, so it's in the form of a loan that gets paid back to the state and recycled into future investments.
That they get that way. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's loan funds to developers, not grant funds.
Right. Okay. Well, that's important. We're not handing them money over to finish some project.
No,
that's coming from us.
It's if they demonstrate that they have maximized their conventional debt. Banks are lowering their loan-to-cost caps. Costs are going up. Even with a significant amount of equity, there tends to be a gap.
Do they then get a different rate on these?
It's typically subordinate, lower interest debt. It's like a mezzanine loan, but it's repaid, non-forgivable.
And you guys are essentially an entity under the state government itself.
Yeah.
Your organization, right? That, everybody's salary is where you come from. I don't care about that. It's none of my business. But why specifically? Is it just the expansion of the aid that it's centered around railroad stations and whatnot?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, it's a couple reasons. Our primary purpose is around economic development and community vibrancy, right? And so we see increasing demand both for residents and for workers to be in walkable, mixed-use downtowns with amenity, and to be connected to those places and to some of the larger centers by transit. And the state has made a significant investment in the rail infrastructure as well as the ongoing operating costs of that service. And so the way to manage that without significant subsidy is to increase ridership. And the more origins and destinations are oriented around the rail system, the more it leads to ridership, which reduces the per rider subsidy. And the reason Shoreline Shoreline East is level of service has gone down so significantly over the years is because the per rider subsidy is astronomically high. And so the way to garner enhanced service is to lower the per rider subsidy by
People aren't leaving their cars. We could do what we want, but they're not going to be. So finally, the towns that you mentioned, I noticed you skipped over Madison. Is Madison not on board, or you didn't have your meeting with them yet?
Yeah, so we have had some conversations. They haven't yet brought it before their Board of Selectmen.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Representative Murray?
I just want to make sure I understand. So
Just move the microphone if you would. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't even need them. So
Thank you.
I just want to make sure I understand. So if you're saying that the money that gets approved, you don't have any say as far as what we do with it, as long as it conforms to something, or you have to approve the money? Like, we come to you with an idea, say we want to do X. If y'all don't like it, we don't.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we have objectives, we have statutory purpose around what we're trying to achieve, but I can say if it's supporting vibrancy, economic development within walking distance of the train station, it's likely to be well aligned with our purpose.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Elisa, Representative Waterman, I'm sorry.
So it looks like there's a lot of member towns along Shoreline East. Will also be part of your purview to kind of coordinate development efforts around the train stations along Shoreline East and into New Haven. I know that's all what everyone struggled with, transportation within.
Yeah, I wouldn't so much say that it's our purview to coordinate, but we definitely have the opportunity, I think, to be kind of a convener, an aggregator, an amplifier. It is not a coincidence that there is a significant cluster of shoreline communities that have joined CMDA, much in the same way that pretty much every community with a Hartford line station has joined CMDA, and every community with a Waterbury branch station has joined CMDA, because they recognize that the branch lines, for lack of a better term, require a coordinated approach, and understanding the way in which each municipality fits within that larger strategy is something that we can certainly help with.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Anderson again?
Can you tell us some of the projects that you've already developed?
Yeah, so we are just on the cusp of making our first investment. So, as I said, the first municipalities opted in almost exactly a year ago. And so, of the 40 municipalities who are members, 11 have gotten to the stage of an established district. And so those 11 are the first to be eligible for funding. As of next week, that number should grow to about 14 or 15. And so in those 11, a dozen and a half or so projects have approached us, either from a municipality or from a private developer therein, and we have been reviewing those, and we expect to make our first funding allocations this spring.
And what is it that's being developed?
Projects that are in conformance with the host municipality's zoning.
Do you have a town that you're doing this with, that you can say?
Yeah, I mean, so on our website, you can see the 11 municipalities of the 40 that have an established development district, and there are projects that are coming to us seeking funding in almost all of those 11.
Okay. So the one that's coming up in this spring?
Several will come up this spring, yes.
Can you give an idea of what they are?
Yeah, I mean, I can, but it's almost irrelevant, because it says nothing about what would be allowed in Branford, right? Just because some community, like one of them is a 10-story office building being converted to residential, right? Because that's what the challenge and the opportunity is in that community. It would be something different here. But it would be, you know, I would expect it would either be infrastructure or you know, some sort of a town scale mixed use development around the train station, much as the one that was described that has already been approved but not yet built, and helping understand kind of what's holding that back. You know, what oftentimes communities we work with have a project that they have approved, but it hasn't yet come into construction. And it's because there is some barrier or some gap, whether it's regulatory or infrastructure or financing, and those are the exact 3 buckets that were designed to help fill if necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Representative Hartwell?
Just very quickly, what's the timeline if we were to approve? How quickly would we?
Yeah. Realistically, right now, it's probably about 6 months. It may get a little quicker, but, you know, to be totally honest, I'm not sure that we anticipated 40 communities in the first year, so we're kind of working through that process. But I think it's reasonable to estimate that it would be about 6 months from membership to district adoption.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Representative Jennings?
So I've heard through the grapevine that Guilford is building near a bus hub, bus stop, but this program only deals with train stations?
Yeah, so we are statutorily limited to within a half a mile of rail or bus rapid transit, which really in Connecticut is only the fast track line up in New Britain, or within a downtown. And so we have been talking, with Guilford about, you know, an extended geography that goes from the train station up to the area within walking distance of the green. And so you can sort of define, if desired by the town, you can define, for lack, you know, just to overly simplify it, a half a mile from rail or a half a mile from the downtown.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Madam Moderator. Thank you for your presentation. Just a question. So if Branford wants to opt in and then later on we reconsider, is there a process? Are we able to opt out, or are we beholden? Or is there a certain time commitment?
Yeah, so I get this question all the time. There's not really a formal mechanism to opt out, but there are off-ramps, right? So you just don't take the next step. I can't control if the local legislative body, if the RTM decides to pass a resolution to opt out, like that's your prerogative, but it's not really designed that way. It's more designed that there's a check-in at every step. You just opt not to go forward. There will come a time, once the district is established and there's a memorandum of agreement, if there's funding allocated to the municipality for infrastructure, there will be commitments associated with that about the duration of our partnership, right? We're not going to invest funds and then have the town pull back, but that's way down the road, and that would be part of your decision making when you determine whether or not you accept those funds.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Anyone else in the room? Okay. Do I hear a motion to?
I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Thank you. Representative Henschel, and seconded by Representative Edelman.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The public hearing is now closed, and now we can essentially, I guess, call the question, right, in terms of whether or not the town will opt in as a member municipality of the Connecticut Municipal Redevelopment Authority pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 8-16911. Do any members have any further discussion?
You are calling the question.
I'm sorry?
Calling the question usually means we have to vote immediately. That's what.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting Robert's rules in my ear over here. Thank you. Okay, so to reiterate the question?
To start the debate.
Okay, start the debate. Any debate? Any comments? Representative Waterman?
Okay. I, for one, would really like to support us joining this organization. I would say, as a resident and business owner in Branford, we haven't invested enough as a town into economic development. I think there has been conversations about how to link the area around our train station to the rest of town, and this gives us an opportunity to have investments and to start the conversation about how we want to do economic development going forward. So I think it's, for me, I will vote for it and think it's a great opportunity.
Thank you. Representative Hartwell?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I also am going to vote for this resolution. In a former life, before I came to Branford, I was actually on the Connecticut Commuter Rail Council for 8 years. And so I was looking at train lines all over the state, including Shoreline East, where we would come and have meetings once a year with residents along the shore, the Waterbury line, and as well as, of course, the main line of New Haven, which is where I was located. We would have died to have money and support from the state to further development around the train stations. The whole idea of transit-oriented development has been on the docket of the state for years, but without any support, without anything real. It's like, oh, well, we should be doing transit-oriented development. It would be a good thing. Well, now, finally, the state is coming forward with a mechanism and money. And they're allowing us to opt in and take from them what looks good to us. It's not a mandate. They're not telling us what to do. They're saying, if you want to do something, we can help. I can't understand why we wouldn't do that.
Representative Edelman.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I also rise in support of this to keep allows the town to maintain its town autonomy, gets additional technical support with a level of expertise that, quite frankly, while we have considerable technical expertise at our disposal, this gives us a much greater amount of support and a better foundation for that support. Fresh ideas with very little obligation. In fact, no obligation initially, and only obligation that would attach to the town is once the town takes a position to, with this body, to go forward on a project. There's nothing that would be forced onto this town's body. There'd be nothing that would take away any of the independence of the town, and it allows additional support. And if we're going to weigh the risk and reward of this program as it relates to the town, it's far greater reward than a risk that anybody could discern. So I am an advocate and will support this motion. Thank you.
Anyone else? Representative Anderson.
I am not in support of this. I think I've made my position clear in the rules and ordinances when this first started. I would like a ton of more information about what is being developed, where it's being developed, for who it's being developed, by whom it's being developed. I think our town is packed at the moment. As far as the train station goes, it's all houses and people that use it to go into town, into New Haven, further up. I think the organization is in its infancy. It's 18 months old, and I think more time is needed to see it develop. to see where the hooks are, where the problems are, and where the give and take that was said happens. So I'm not ready to jump on board just yet.
Thank you. Representative Henschel?
Yes, I think it's a misconception to think that somebody outside of Branford is telling us, even suggesting to us what we should do. There is, as far as I see it, there is absolutely no risk. Representative Edelman suggested there was low risk. There is no risk in this, opting into this. It's all opportunity. Anything that's going to be actually done, a project of any sort, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's housing, would be something that would come from within Branford, something that would happen anyway. But this just allows us, if we decide we want to have something happen, and it goes through all the normal routine approvals through planning and zoning, et cetera, and is approved in those bodies. And most of the larger projects in Branford require public hearings, so there'd be any project would end up having a public hearing and robust discussion about the actual project at the town level. After that's all done, and that could happen for nothing has changed in terms of what might happen or be proposed. What's changed is that once something is proposed, and if it's within the district that's being defined as their opportunity zone, then we have opportunity for positive benefits to the town through the things that have been mentioned, and primarily it would be through grants and some, resources being provided through consultation. But we're totally in the driver's seat here. There's absolutely nothing that is being pushed on us in terms of the quality of life in Branford, the nature of Branford, the way it's been developed, or what may happen. That's up to us. And I know everybody's concerned, obviously, about how Branford evolves and grows in the future, and we have some of us have different ideas, one from the other, about what's best for town. But that process is going to take place at the town level. This agency authority is not going to be imposing anything on us in terms of directing us to do X, Y, or Z. It's only after we decide we want to do X, Y, or Z on our own volition that we have these opportunities. So to me, it's a total win-win. I can't see any downside to it at all.
We don't know that. We don't know anything about what their agenda.
We don't have to take any action. We could approve the resolution, join the authority, and do absolutely nothing, and nothing would change in Branford. And we know that.
Then why join?
Pardon?
Then why do it?
Because it allows for the potential of, a lot of opportunity and benefit for the town, which we'll miss if we don't do it. It'll be gone. So anyway, that's, that is my take on this. I think it's a fantastic idea. The town should get involved with doing this. We already have discussions of a transit-oriented district in town, and this would just allow, projects within that district, more opportunity if the town decides to go forward with it.
Excuse me, can we please pay attention when we're speaking? Thank you.
At any rate, that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
What do you say? Oh, may I call the question?
You can't call the...
Yes, you can. He just made a motion. Somebody can make another to second it, and then we have to vote on it.
Okay.
We have it just ends debate. I'm not debating it. It's undebatable to me.
Is there still anyone who wants to debate this?
The question was...
You have to wait for a second.
I say second?
It was seconded by Representative Henschel.
And we can't talk about it.
Okay.
We have to vote.
Now you have to vote.
All right. I think we should have a roll call vote on this.
Well, this is just to
vote to call
the question.
Just to call the question.
So this is to end debate. The motion itself is to whether we want to stop the debate now.
Yeah.
So we have to take a vote on whether or not to stop debate.
It's a two-thirds vote.
Yeah, two-thirds vote.
Okay. All those in favor of calling the question and voting on this, raise your hand.
To stop the debate.
Yeah, that's all. Stop the debate.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Sorry.
It's a two-thirds motion, so I have to.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody, you have to keep your hands up. It's to stop the debate. I apologize.
I wanted to ask a
So we're voting on whether or not to stop the debate.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Did Ray want to ask a question?
14 hands. That's not two-thirds.
That's not two-thirds, so debate continues.
Yeah.
Who would like to speak? Representative Ingraham.
Thank you. I did have a question. Is there a time limit to adopting this? Is there a time limit that, okay, if you don't adopt it in a year, does it fall off? You never can do it again? You can never bring it up again? That part I should have asked earlier, but it just hit me. You are.
No, you can come up to the microphone again.
We're back on.
Yeah.
We're back
It's
in.
not a public hearing now.
Yeah, it's not a public
Just us
hearing,
doing
but
our
it's,
thing.
yeah.
No, the short answer is no. It's totally up to the municipality, kind of how you pace this, when you opt in, whatnot. And the only thing I'd say is we try and honor the initiative that municipalities show. And so, if you opt in tonight, you'll be number 41. If you opt in next month, you'll probably be 43. And it just kind of keeps going down the queue. And we would love to see you in sooner so that we can start the 6-month process and get going to the next step.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? I guess debate has ended. So we will now vote. I think this should be a roll call vote on the proposed resolution to authorize the town of Branford to opt in as a member municipality of the Connecticut Municipal Redevelopment Authority pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 8-16911.
Madam Moderator, could we make a motion to re-refer back to Rules and Ordinances?
No.
Why?
Why?
I'll ask the parliamentarian to comment on that. Representative Hanschel?
It's already been through Rules and Ordinances. We're in a public hearing. We have to complete the process now and take a vote on it. Obviously, if we voted no on this, we could start the whole process all over again if we wanted to. But if we have a positive vote, then we voted on the resolution tonight. But we can't, as an alternative, just re-refer it. We have to finish the process we've started, which is the public hearing and the debate and the vote.
Madam Margaret, how is this different than anything else? I mean, someone could make a motion to re-refer or amend the motion from the committee to ask for a re-referral. If it's seconded, we vote on that. If re-referral is, if the amendment dies, then it's not re-referred.
I think we have to vote it down first and then re-refer it if we want to have it sent back to committee. We're in a public hearing. We can't change the nature of the public hearing.
the public hearing well, we've closed the public hearing, so we're not in a public hearing. Now we are debating whether or not to adopt this resolution. So we've gotten this far. Are you making a motion to re-refer it?
What do you do now?
But you can't at this point.
It's sort of a moot point, because if we vote tonight and we have a positive vote, then we wouldn't get a vote anyway to re-refer. So if you think it should be re-referred, which is fine, the only option, I think, is for the RTM to go through the vote and to not approve it. At that point, it could be, we could, again, start the process. We could refer it back to the R&O for further discussion. But frankly, I think, given the nature of this, that the discussion should happen at the public, at the RTM level and not in a committee level.
We had a public hearing, and I think it should go back to R&O so we can have more discussion on it.
Process.
Can we allow the first selectman to speak? Yes.
Well, we have, you have, wait, hang on. We have a motion.
She made a motion to re-refer it.
We have the motion.
But she hasn't been seconded.
A motion, let me,
Well, there's a
there
motion.
was a motion on the floor.
There's a motion on the
There hasn't
floor.
been a second yet.
She hasn't seconded it. So,
that motion's no good.
so I would say this. This is my belief. You came out of R&O to have a public hearing to hear this thing, which you did, and you satisfied the agreement for R&O. Then you went out of public hearing and you're debating a motion that you were actually debating a question. No motion has actually been made yet, unless, I don't think any motion has actually been made to accept did somebody make a motion to accept the resolution as presented? I don't think it was. So it doesn't matter. If a motion was made where you could do that, that motion could be amended to go to do anything. You could amend it to say that we'll join in August of next year, or, I mean, that's the purview of this body to amend that motion to whatever it wants, but you could also re-refer it. I don't think you should, let me be clear by that, but I do believe that you would have the right to re-refer it, because how do you know that if that was true, then he could have given you information that you would have need to research farther, sorry, that's not the right word. Further, he could have given you information that you want to research further, so you would clearly have the ability to re-refer it. I don't think you should. I think you should vote on it tonight. I don't see, there is no scenario, we're going to join this body. Regardless of what happens tonight, we are going to create a transit district because we've been doing it for 3 months. People are going to come in with applications to build stuff because they've been doing it for 50 years. The town will either approve or disapprove, depending on if they follow the rules that are given and stay within the guidelines of the town, because they've been doing it for 50 years. All this does is it provides us tools, right? Opportunities to get funding to help with infrastructure things such as sewer upgrades or investigations into our sewers, or perhaps spending money to fix a brown site, or various other things that would come with infrastructure. We have that ability, but in no way, shape, or form is joining this they are going to say you need to build these houses. That's not how this works. Developers will decide if they purchase a piece of property that they want to build something on that property, and the town will make that developer go through the process that we have established through years of planning and zoning regulations and work by McKell of whether or not that we want that property or think that property is appropriate for the town of Branford based on those regulations. So all of that will remain in effect whether or not you join tonight or not. To me, the biggest difference is if we had joined in October and we had a resolution to approve bonding for the school roof project on October 30th, if any of you would recall, we would have saved $600,000. That's what would have happened. If this had happened in October, we would have saved $600,000 as a community. If and when the Board of Ed who approved this project comes forward with $200 million in school improvements, and this body is asked to vote on that, if you are part of this organization, you will save the taxpayers of Branford $10 million. That's it. So I don't see any drawback to this body approving this tonight, and I think you should. Thank you.
Madam Moderator?
Yes. Representative Henschel as parliamentarian or?
Quasi-parliamentarian. I don't have any personally any problem if we want to take a vote to re-refer it, because I think we're going to have the same vote either way. So if we want to have a vote first to re-refer it, and if it's not re-referred, we can have a vote to approve.
Point of procedure.
Or vice versa, either way.
Yes.
We never had a motion to start with.
That's true. He's right.
There was
We had zero motions
never
to start
a
with. That's, I
committee.
think, where we're
There
getting.
was a
So
committee.
I'm saying we could make either motion, and we're going to end up in the same place.
The committee made a decision to bring it here to a public hearing.
Right.
After the public hearing, there wasn't a motion to say, we want to do this. We were about to make a vote, a roll call vote to say we wanted to do something that we didn't make a motion to say we wanted to do.
You can make a motion now.
Motion on the floor is to re-refer, though.
Motion on the floor.
There was no motion out of committee, right?
Let's vote on Trish's motion and then move on.
Before going.
Is there a second to the motion to re-refer it?
I'll second it.
A point of order?
Yes.
According to our presenters, it's now called the Development Authority, not the Redevelopment Authority. So we should vote on the correct authority, I think.
Well, that is a valid point. That is actually a question that I did have, because I'm not sure, since included in the wording is pursuant to Connecticut general statutes, I'm not sure if the statute has been changed to reflect the name is now the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority.
Yeah, you referenced the correct statute. So the fact that the name in the resolution says redevelopment instead of development does not matter to us.
That's not the organization.
So we are now going to take a vote on whether or not to re-refer this to the Rules and Ordinances Committee. We're going to have to do it probably by roll call, unless it's going to be hands, and you want to count hands.
Hands.
You want to count hands?
The majority.
Okay. All those in favor of re-referring this to the Rules and Ordinances Committee, raise your hand.
Thank you.
All those against re-referring it to the Rules and Ordinances Committee?
It's not re-referred.
It is not re-referred. Do I hear a motion to
We accept the resolution. and
Approve
join.
the resolution. Approve the resolution.
Approve the resolution. I move that we approve the resolution and join this authority.
I second.
Seconded by Representative Jennings.
Yeah.
All those in favor of hearing the resolution and voting on it, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, it has to be a roll
Oh,
call.
that's it. Now you can vote
No,
on it.
now we can vote on it.
Yeah, but it has to be a roll call vote for a resolution.
Yes. But we're voting on, we just voted to take the vote, the resolution.
No, we voted to approve the resolution.
Approve the resolution. That was my
That was the
Okay.
motion.
My mistake. Robert's Rules of Order. I don't know who Robert is, but I don't like him.
It's not Ray. It's not Ray, but I got the idiot book.
I have that too. Okay, so let's do a roll call vote on the resolution to authorize the town of Branford to opt in as a member municipality of the Connecticut Municipal Redevelopment Authority pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 8-16911.
It's on the books now.
This will be a roll call vote.
Representative Adams.
Approve.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Representative Edelman.
Approve.
Representative Alphone.
Yes.
Representative Anderson.
No.
Representative Bonneberger.
In favor.
Representative Brooks.
In favor.
Representative Dayhill.
Approve.
Representative Everson. Oh, sorry.
I don't vote.
You don't count this time. I meant you don't vote. Representative Greenberg.
Yes.
Representative Gorman.
Yes.
Representative Hartwell.
yes.
Representative Healy.
Yes.
Representative Henschel.
Yes.
Alone.
Representative Hines.
No.
Thank you, Chris.
Representative Ingraham, yes. Representative Jennings.
Yes.
Representative Kelly.
Yes.
Representative Larson.
Yes.
Representative Maresca.
Yes.
Representative McCall.
Yes.
Representative McCormick.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative, he's not here. Representative Sharkey.
No.
Representative Shreska.
Yes.
Representative Schumro.
Yes.
Representative Sullivan.
Yes.
Representative Toohill.
No.
Representative Verderame.
Yes.
Representative Waterman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Here's the thing.
Item number 7. To consider and if appropriate approve the following request and resolution from the Board of Education to increase the following revenue and expenditures of the adult education budget due to the addition of an elementary children's enrichment program. There are various revenue, tuition, adult ed that will be increased $42,490 to a revised budget of $114,990. Can we have order? Thank you. Expenses for salaries non-certified. The revised budget will be $11,500. Employee benefits, $2,840. Purchase services, professional and technical, $77,600 is the new number. Please, could we have quiet? Thank you.
Who's talking?
Instructional supplies increased $2,500 to $5,000. Miscellaneous, $3,500 is the new number. Bank services to $5,375. Resolved that the RTM approve an increase in appropriations for the fiscal year 2026 Shoreline Adult Education Fund budget from $72,500 to $114,990. This increase will be funded through additional tuition revenue and will support the implementation of an elementary children's enrichment program. This item was heard by the Education Committee. Chairwoman Shahida Sumro, please provide the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. The Education Committee met on February 1st, 2026, with a quorum present. The committee reviewed a request from the Board of Education regarding an adult education budget adjustment. Christine Beorg, Director of Shoreline Adult Education, presented proposal for a 6-week pilot elementary children's enrichment program for students in kindergarten through grade 4 at 3 schools. The program would offer academic and creative enrichment classes after school and would be fully supported by tuition revenue on a sliding scale. The committee reviewed the proposed budget increase of $42,490, which would be increase the adult education budget to a total of $114,990. The additional revenue is generated through program tuition and does not require additional town funding and may contribute to the town's general fund surplus. After discussion and clarification on staffing, program structure, and funding sources, the Education Committee voted unanimously to approve the requested revenue and expenditure increase. The committee therefore recommends approval of this request. Thank you.
And would you put that in the form of a motion?
Make a formal motion.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from members of the RTM on this? Members of the public? All those in favor of this transfer, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The item carries. Number 8, to consider and if appropriate, approve a transfer request for fiscal year '25 from the Fire Department from Communications, CMed, Volunteer Officer Stipend, and Longevity for a total of $22,300 to Purchase Services, R&M, and Other Supplies for a total of $22,300. This item was heard by Public Services, Chairwoman Abigail Adams. Please deliver your committee report.
Thanks. Public Services met February 5th. We all were present and attended. Fire Chief Mahoney and his deputy chief discussed that the transfer is to cover the maintaining the fleet, which has had a really, really rough year. And so they found money in the other lines and are requesting keeping our aging fleet with cumulative problems be facing it on the roads. The committee unanimously voted to support this resolution. I present this in the form of a motion.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from any members of the RTM? From the public? All those in favor of making this transfer, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The item carries. Number 9, to consider and if appropriate, approve a transfer request for fiscal year '25 from General Government Buildings from fuel oil, $4,000, to uniforms/clothing, $4,000. This item was also heard by Public Services, Chairwoman Adams.
Thanks. Public Services Committee again met February 5th, full attendance. The Director of Facilities, Brian Droney, described the small transfers to cover the increasing costs for uniforming our custodial staff. Unanimously passed, recommending this to the RTM. I present this in the form of a motion.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from members of the RTM? Members of the public? All those in favor of making this transfer, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The item carries. Number 10, to consider and if appropriate, recommend amending Town Ordinance Chapter 157 Fire Safety, Article 3, and to add a new Article 4 as recommended by the Branford Fire Department. This item was heard by the Rules and Ordinances Committee. Chairman Henschel.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. The Rules and Ordinance Committee met on January 20th to consider this request. The chair reported that the amendments and the new article were reviewed and revised in concert with the fire marshal, the working group, and the town attorney. And I'd remind everybody, you have in your packet, I think, a color-coded version of the ordinance showing what changes were made to the amendment for your review if you have questions. Robert Dubozinski, the Branford Fire Marshal, explained that the need for updating this town ordinance and answered questions from the committee members. A motion was made to recommend that the RTM approve the amendment of the town ordinance as finally drafted, which was passed unanimously, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Any questions or comments from members of the RTM? Members of the public? Since this is an adoption of an ordinance, we need to have a roll call once again.
Yep.
Mr. Clerk?
I might get it right.
Mr. Robert? We'll have a roll call vote on this.
I like my rules. I was an umpire once. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Couple times. Half the people had it made. All right. So item 10. Okay.
Yes.
Representative Adams.
Approve.
Representative Edelman.
Yes.
Representative Alphone.
Yes.
Representative Anderson.
Yes.
Representative Bonneberger. Representative Brooks. Representative Dayhill.
Yes.
Representative Giannino. Representative Greenberg. Representative Gorman.
Yes.
Representative Hartwell.
Yes.
Representative Healy.
Approved.
Representative Henschel.
Approve.
Representative Hines.
Yes.
Representative Ingraham, yes. Representative Jennings.
Yes.
Representative Kelly.
What they want, yes.
Representative Larson. Representative Maresca.
Yes.
Got it right there. Representative McCall.
Yes.
Representative McCormick.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Sharkey.
Yes.
Representative Shrestha.
Yes.
Representative Schumro.
Yes.
Representative Sullivan.
Yes.
Representative Toohill.
Yes.
Representative Verderam.
Yes.
Representative Waterman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
There's some consensus there.
All right. Number 11, to consider and, if appropriate, recommend the RTM designate the road known as Jefferson Place in Branford as a town road as petitioned by the adjacent property owners. Representative Henschel.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Again, the Rules and Ordinance Committee met on January 20th to consider this request, and I would first note that there are two forms that this petition could take. One would have been that the town attorney, through review, came to the conclusion that this was already a town road, which is what the petitioners were suggesting. The other approach is that the petition goes to the RTM, and the RTM, by state statute, has the authority to approve the acceptance of a road by the town on its own right. I shared in the committee meeting, I shared an email from the town attorney recommending that this petition be addressed through the RTM acceptance process rather than as a legal finding. The committee, in that meeting, the committee heard a presentation by Kurt Johnson, who was representing the petitioners. He summarized the history of Jefferson Place and provided us with a lot of documentation in the form of surveys, maps, deeds, aerial photos, et cetera, which I put into the record. The working group recommended that a comprehensive survey would be needed to determine the boundaries of the roadway before further action is taken, and the first selectman committed to having the town cover the cost of that survey. The purpose of this is if it is going to go in front of the RTM for approval, my feeling, and with concurrence of the attorney, was that we needed to know exactly what the boundaries of what we were accepting would be, rather than just to have it be, the so-called road, to clarify if there were any survey discrepancies that needed resolution before we did that. Therefore, further progress on this request will be pending completion of the survey, which I'm not sure whether that's actually been commissioned yet or not, but the first selectman has assured me that it would be done expeditiously. So until that point, basically Rules and Ordinance will not revisit this question. We'll just continue to re-refer it. Hopefully, once we get that survey, we can have discussion in Rules and Ordinance about any issues that we see and how they might be resolved, and then bring it to the RTM. So with that said, a motion was made to recommend that the RTM re-refer this request, which was passed unanimously, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Any questions or comments from members of the RTM? From the public? All in favor of re-referring this item, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The item is re-referred. Item number 12, to consider and, if appropriate, recommend the establishment of a town ordinance to allow a senior property tax freeze for certain qualified senior Branford homeowners. Once again, Chairman Henschel.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Again, the Rules and Ordinance Committee met on January 20th to consider this request further. In the previous meeting of Rules and Ordinance, we had established a working group who was tasked with doing research into what other towns may have done along these lines, to gather information on what had been done by other towns and how they had done it, and the details if they had done that through ordinance, and also to do research on with the town of Branford itself to be able to determine if a proposed ordinance was put together, what the financial or fiscal impact would be on the town of the provisions of that proposal. So again, the working group reported that they are studying similar ordinances in other towns and studying the elements and metrics that would be needed to implement such a program. And as I said, the working group is developing tools to estimate the fiscal impact on the town. The research is ongoing and probably will take a considerable number of months before we get to any definitive initial drafts of a proposed program. Therefore, a motion was made to recommend that the RTM re-refer this request, which was passed unanimously, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Any questions or comments from members of the RTM or from the public? All those in favor of re-referring this item, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The item is re-referred. Number 13, to consider and if appropriate, recommend the establishment of a town ordinance to limit the use of gas-fired leaf blowers and encourage alternatives. Chairman Henschel.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Again, when the Rules and Ordinance Committee met on January 20th to consider this request, the first thing that was done was to establish a 3-person working group to do research into the request and its implications, and again, to look at if other towns had done this, how they had done it, and bring that information back to the committee. There were several people at this past meeting that came both as proponents and opponents of this action, but we decided to wait and hear a more detailed response from each of those two groups in the upcoming R&O meeting of this month. And I will be sending out a request to them to participate specifically with the provision of information that they would like us to hear. A motion was made to recommend that the RTM re-refer this request, which was passed unanimously, and I put that in the form of a motion. And before we vote on that, I might say that the R&O meeting that's coming up is right on top of the special meeting that we just agreed to hold on the 17th. So we had, in canvassing the group, I've come up with an alternative date for that meeting, which will be Thursday, the following Thursday. I think it's the 26th of February. That will be an in-person meeting, hopefully in this room here. So anyway, I put this in the form of a motion that we re-refer it.
Any questions or comments? Yes, Representative Healy.
Representative Henschel, just a quick question on the wording here. This is what you're going over as far as limit the use of and encourage alternatives, or is it a full cease and desist on the gas leaf blowers?
The wording was put in that form to imply that there was opportunity to provide a range of restriction, from full restriction to a partial restriction with some alternative incentives. In other words, we wanted to leave it open. If there was a proposal after the working group works on it and researches it, they would like to propose a draft program or ordinance. We were just basically allowing latitude in what the form of that might be, depending on the research and depending on public input that may be given in our meetings. So it's flexible, exactly what we're talking about.
Well, thank you for that answer. Hopefully it goes nowhere.
Pardon?
Hopefully it goes nowhere, but thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone from the public?
We can't have discussion on a re-refer.
Oh. It's debatable. Thank you, Robert.
He's Robert Jr. We could discuss.
Okay. All those in favor of re-referring this item, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Anyone want to continue talking?
All right. Number 14, any other business?
Moderator?
Yes. Representative Ingraham.
A couple comments. I've done this before in this body. I don't think when you guys have been around. I really have a
speak up. Okay.
I really have a distaste for this setup. I had it from the day one when I was the majority leader, that we line up on a field like two teams, not a group of people that are working for Branford. We do the two-team thing 4 to 6 months before the election. in here, we have different ideas on why the people that founded the RTM divided it up with minority representation, not to make sure that there were different voices in the room instead of always the same voice. So I'd like to see the leadership team, the four of us, get together and discuss methods that maybe we can change up the seating. Allow to make it so, not strict where, I mean, we've talked about it before. Each district sat together and there were some ideas like that. But it would be wonderful to be able to sit next to, disturb your meeting by whispering to Representative Hartwell, did you talk to Bobby down the street? You know, just hit me. You can't do that. And what happens is we come in, and it's, okay, you know, this team takes this side, this team takes this side, and there's a mentality, even with people that speak here. If they think one side's going that way, they're looking at the people. We all know that the rules of the RTM is we only speak to the moderator. We're only supposed to speak through the moderator to the moderator. So if we could work on that as a working group of the four of us.
Speed dogs.
And do it. And I've been shot down by many people, no matter of party on this type of idea. But, I mean, even if, you know, I'm not going to talk about Congress. But not a special committee, just the four of us are the leadership committee, so it's not a...
I think we'll have to take into consideration how we are set up for the cameras, for the public meeting.
I have history and notes. And we brought in VCTV to help us with that, and there actually is a better way than what we do.
Where are the cameras?
We're here. We can do that.
I didn't mention anything.
Well, I was going to follow up on that idea.
Would you like to be recognized for Selectman Brooks?
Through you, Miss Moderator. And I was going to bring it up under new business. And should you decide to go along with, to have that conversation with Representative Clerk,
just right.
Ingraham.
I didn't want to say Ingraham. It felt less personal after what you just said, but I couldn't say Representative Ray, so Representative Clerk I went with. Anyway, the police station originally was scheduled to be finished for February 17th. It's now gotten pushed off, so it may be 2-3 weeks off. So that is you the first week of May. Sorry, March. So we have to recognize that there is going to be a short lead time for BCTV and the crew to move the equipment to get us back into the firehouse. But that will be the intention, is to go back in the firehouse. So I would encourage all the members, because if I forget, because I do forget things sometimes, that when the agenda goes out, that if you're not reminded, look at the location, because the location of the agenda will say if we are here or at the firehouse. You'll know when the police move, because I'm sure there'll be an article in the paper or something, but that may not correlate to exactly when we move because of the movement of some of the equipment. So in your discussion, I think you should think about that discussion as it relates to being in the firehouse.
Thank you.
Could have just started with that.
Any other representatives? Any other comments? Yes, Representative Sumro.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Before I did, I actually wrote a letter because I got community members' calls and emails about safety, clarity, and trust from as they are seeking a transparency and reassurance from our local leadership. And also I was thinking that I can this is how I feel my family and our community, their feelings. So I'm going to share this. Madam Moderator, members of the RTM, First Selectman, and Chief of Police. My name is Shahida Sumro. I am an immigrant resident of Branford and a member of this representative town meeting. My husband and I arrived in this country as a young couple, newly married, and I was expecting our first son. At that time, I could not have imagined what life in a new country would bring, nor the challenges that lay ahead. Like so many immigrants, we came here with hope, determinations, and a deep belief in the promise of the United States. We followed the law and became citizens through the legal immigration process. We worked hard, raised our children here, and committed ourselves fully to this country, which we proudly call home. I never imagined that I would be standing here, speaking so personally. I usually keep my family's story private, but I am speaking today because of the deep fear and uncertainty that many immigrant families are experiencing right now. Fear that is affecting not only residents without legal status, but also those with documentation and U.S. citizen. This fear is no longer theoretical, and it is not confined to distant places. What we witnessed in cities such as Minneapolis, Los Angeles, and Chicago was first disturbing and has now become terrifying for families across the country. Just last week, my youngest son, a proud Branford High School graduate and current UConn sophomore, who usually only wants to talk about the Huskies and the Steelers, said to us, "I'm scared to go back to UConn. I am afraid ICE might show up and arrest me just because I'm a Brown." It is heartbreaking that we have reached a point where our children, students, citizens, and contributing members of our community are afraid to go to college. They should feel safe, supported, and hopeful about their future. Instead, they are carrying fear based solely on how they look or where their families come from. This fear is real, it is personal, and it is already shaping the lives and outlook of the next generation. We may disagree on politics and on policy, but I firmly believe that the safety and well-being of our children must be our shared priority. We are a town that values education, dignity, and community. I urge this body and our leadership to act with clarity, courage, and compassion so that fear does not replace leadership. We must ensure that all families in Branford feel safe, living, learning, and contributing here. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Sumra. Would anyone else like to be heard? Okay, item number 15, motion to adjourn.
Somebody.
I
heard it from somewhere.
Multiple moves.
Is that unanimous?
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.